I'm not surprised it happened, but here we go again. Pat Narduzzi is running his mouth, and it's about Morgantown yet again. I guess we're nothing but zoo animals, according to him.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back into the show. My name is Mountaineer Paul. This is Locked On West Virginia, and we're talking backyard brawl, baby. It's been a subject of hot debate over the last few weeks here on the show for multiple reasons. We wanted to stay. We love the banter back and forth and all that, and it continues today with Pat Narduzzi and some things he said, I think yesterday or the day before. I'm just getting caught up on. So we're going to talk about that. But before we can go there, let's talk about the sponsor here today. This episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Monarch Money. When it comes to Monarch Money, you can take control of your finances today with using Monarch Money. And all you have to do is use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen of the day, guys, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team every single day. And let's get to this, man. Also on the show, we've got Rich Rod's approval rating. I put out a poll earlier. Not very many people have had a chance because I only put it out like an hour ago. Not a whole bunch of people have had a chance to comment on that and actually do it yet. But I think about around 100 people so far, something like that. Not many at all, but enough to get an opening feel for what people are thinking on the Rich Rod approval rating. And I've got it rated S tier, A tier, B tier, and then C tier for mid-link, because I wouldn't personally think it would be below that for anybody unless they're just hating personally. I mean, you do have the 9th ranked portal class in the country based on rivals, and it's based on incoming class and coaching hires. That's a very important distinction considering we poached an SEC defensive coordinator. So, you know, obviously the Zach Alley piece of that is a huge piece of the approval rating for me. We'll go there in a second, though. And also, you know, I got to bring some dogs on this. So we're going to be looking at Scotty Fox today, somebody I've heard a lot about, and Aiden Busel, who I've only shown one time. And I felt like he needed to be shown again because the topic that day wasn't great. A lot of people, there were only a couple hundred people in there that day, and I felt like maybe a few more people would like to see Aiden Busel's tape. So we're going to go there as well, the transfer from Tennessee. All right, so I'm going to go through this kind of chronologically, and I went back in the archives and looked at a couple shows that I'd done about Narduzzi and looked at some of the things that I said then and what he said then and made sure it was accurate, because I don't want to misrepresent anything he says just for a click or a headline. But he's continuously cheap shotted us in the media, which is fair. It's all fair in love and rivalries, right? So let's see what all he said, though, because some of it borders on like, what are you doing, man? It just goes too far. Great example is they had them wear helmets and shoulder pads off the bus because they were all afraid they were going to get hit by batteries in 2024. Was it 2024 or 23? Whichever the last time they were in Morgantown. So just another example of it's just so dramatic, really. It's just dramatic as hell. Okay, so let's get there, man. 2022 to the backyard returns, and Narduzzi said this. He said, so we'll go back in 2022 here. You know, obviously, we had been on an 11-year hiatus, which is just insane to think about. And obviously, that's the game where Pitt won in Acrisure Stadium on the pick six from JT Daniels that went off the hands of Bryce Ford Wheaton. And the things he said before the game were pretty wild. I mean, he said, we know they'll come up. There's a lot of hatred on their end, and there's going to be a lot of hate on our end. And that's what it comes down to in rivalry games. And then he doubled down on 93.7 The Fan, saying there's a lot of hatred on their end, but there's going to be a lot more on our end for this. And things have gotten dicey up there a couple times in the past. So he kind of laid the groundwork for some things that he said later on. 2023, you look at what he said, because that's very mild right there, right? It's gotten dicey up there, which is true. It has in the past, but not lately. It's not happening anymore. And you would think that after all these years that we've been back since 22 that he would notice this, but it's like he wants to continue to bring up like it's so dangerous up there. 2023 is really one that it really grind my gears. I did a show on it. This is when we won 17-6. Nico Marchiol was at quarterback. He went on 93.7 The Fan, posing as Pat from Pittsburgh, if you'll remember. And he took direct shots at West Virginia. He mocked the host, saying, who's a West Virginia alum, saying, gosh, can we not get anybody, a Pitt guy doing this radio show? Can we not find someone better? Then he went after Morgantown itself, joking that Pitt fans would rather go to the zoo than travel up to West Virginia. And it wasn't a playful jab. It was a straight up dig at our town, our fans, our game day atmosphere. And I don't understand what he's trying to get to here. Like, he's referenced the batteries. He's done all this different stuff, bringing up all these past events that were really happening in the 80s and 90s. Maybe something happened in those 2000s as well, early. But, I mean, anything that's happened was pre-Neal Brown for sure. And things have kind of turned over. The rivalry just isn't as hot as it was then. Maybe it gets back to that this year with Rich Rod and company, but certainly there's not people hucking batteries, at least not that I'm aware of and haven't heard of at all. And so you look at last year, he said 2024, which they won that game, but he said the backyard ball is one of the best games in college football, which is a compliment. But then he kind of kept up that same narrative on West Virginia being the aggressor in this rivalry, saying the rivalry is defined by a lot of emotion, passion, and hate, especially on their side, he said. Hate, once again, on our side. Now, it looks neutral, but when you look at the history of what he says here, it's clear that he loves to play up the idea that West Virginia are the fans bringing the hate. And, and after the game, he didn't back off that stance either, by the way. While they should have been celebrating the win, Narduzzi was already looking ahead and apparently, didn't mind taking another shot at us, talking about it's not going to be fun to go up there next year. So now we're here to 2025, and his latest statements on an article that Carter Bonds dropped on, and he was also quoting 93.7 The Fan in there. And, he said some good things too about keeping the rivalry every year, which is fine. I mean, bring it on for sure, right? I mean, I'm down for that. But then what he said about the backyard brawl is this rivalry probably goes right at the top or near the top of the rivalry games I've played in. And what makes a great rivalry? There's a lot of hate in this rivalry. The hate West Virginia has for Pitt, and the disrespect to me, he said. The disrespect. Sometimes it's not clean. I know there's a lot of Pitt fans that don't want to travel to Morgantown because of that. Can we get off of this? Can we please get off of this? We get it. You're not going to travel well to Morgantown. Don't pretend like it's because of the hate that you're going to get up there, man. Like, you guys are so much more progressive than we are or something. Like, get the hell out of here. It's a football game. There's hate on both sides. As a content creator in the West Virginia space, I promise you, I can vouch for the hate. I get as much hate from Pitt as I do the West Virginia burners who really hate me. So I get that stirring the pot and all that kind of stuff, but like the direct jabs at the game day environment, our fan base, our fans, Morgantown in generally, are we really that intimidating, or is Narduzzi stirring the pot, or does he really believe this? Is he scared? Like, I don't know, but there's a pattern of shade here that we can connect from 22 to 25, and he's consistently taking shots at West Virginia. And the two words that he brings up the most are hate and disrespect, which are common in a rivalry. But in today's day and age, those words have a little bit different connotation to them. And Narduzzi is absolutely leaning into that, trying to paint us as the bad guy when we know it's him. Nobody really likes Pat Narduzzi, do they? I don't even think their own fans do. It's like when we had Kirk Creesa, we all said, well, the only reason we don't like him is because, or we hate him, or we don't hate him, is because he's on our side. or like Eric Stevenson, right? I love Eric Stevenson, by the way, but just generally, like, it was that feeling of like, yeah, he's one of us, but if he wasn't, we probably wouldn't like him. That's how it is with Narduzzi. Nobody really likes him, but we have to because he's one of us or one of y'all. So, Narduzzi with this holier than thou kind of stick, he just needs to go, man. He definitely, I'll say this though, he definitely bullied Neal Brown a little bit at midfield a couple different times. It was obvious like he was the aggressor, grabbing his shoulders and like he had a little bit more aura. That's not going to happen with Rich Rod. Rich Rod, I got a prediction for you right here, right now. Rich Rodriguez dominates the midfield conversation between these two guys in aura. West Virginia, Rich Rodriguez dominates Pat Narduzzi when it comes to the intimidation factor, the aura, and being a man and hard edged. Sorry, Pat, but that's just the way it is, man. So, and you're going to take a huge L. You don't know what dominance is, man. But coming up to Morgantown, opposite Rich Rodriguez is a bad thing, man. And obviously, there's the 1 year you guys will bring up, and that's fair. It basically ruined our program in a lot of ways, as far as like the track we were on to possibly be that Oregon or another squad that, or maybe Clemson. I do think we were on track to possibly get there. Obviously, we didn't have the support at the very top to get there, in my opinion, like with Passed Along and those guys. But the Pitt loss derailed us. 13-9 derailed us. So if you're talking about, but all the other games with Rich, and I mean, it was dominance mostly. So it's remembered for the one game, but let's not forget Rich Rod has still dominated this rivalry in his time and will continue to. So, and look, it's a rivalry, man. We're going to talk smack, William. I want to get to the field too, brother. But somebody in the comments is saying we need to talk smack on both sides. I get it. But look, we're going to get there. Let's have fun getting there, though. It's just all this is. Listen, I'm not really that mad. I do think that there is something, as my cat's on the chair beside me here. Get down, honey. She's yelling at me. For me, anyways, I think there is something to it. But like, if you're going to ask me who I believe was going to dominate the conversation amongst hate or whatever, it's not West Virginia, like he's trying to say. Like it goes both ways. And I just don't get these buzzwords he keeps going to, disrespect and hate, and trying to paint Morgantown like it's a dangerous place. That's the thing I have a problem with, because Akeem Mesidor left West Virginia because he said it was too dangerous, right? And we all know that's not true. Let's go to break. Come right back, guys. We'll talk a little bit more about this if you want, but let's talk about this Rich Rod approval rating thing that I did. I'm kind of shocked at some of the answers we're getting on that, and we're also going to talk about a couple players to watch out for. It's going to be fun. Stick around. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Monarch Money. When it comes to Monarch Money, we're doing it big, but if you've ever checked your bank account and wondered, gosh, where did all my money go? Well, between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO to give you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center where you can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. And that spending part gets me all the time. And you can just stop managing your money, start building your wealth, and be happy. There's the all-in-one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch Money to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals, which was, for me, something I didn't do very often. It's I want my DoorDash and I want it now. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your very first year. It's segment 2. Let's crack this dude wide open, baby, as we get into the Rich Rod talk. We know we love Rich Rod. We love the aura. We're going to talk about it. Rich Rod's going to dominate that aura, buddy. When it comes to the midfield handshake, I think Pat Narduzzi may actually even go down to his knees in pain. Just kidding. Just kidding. I appreciate that, Uncle Larry. That's crazy, man. I have an uncle named Uncle Larry, obviously. Um, yeah, actually keep him in your prayers right now as well. He's just got a serious diagnosis. Um, okay, so for those of you just joining, we were talking about Pat Narduzzi and the cheap shots over the years, everything from calling Morgantown less than a zoo, which is pretty shocking to hear, to saying that there's hate and disrespect, to saying that some Pitt fans are a little dicey about travel, or uneasy is the word he used, about traveling up there this year. So, with Rich Rod coming back and everything, he's not afraid to say it. I hope somebody asks Rich Rod about it. I mean, he'll probably downplay it, but I would love to get his side of this. And oh man, if he feed into it, that'd be even great. Which he very well may. If you go back to Jack State 2 years ago, I think it was, leading into the UConn game or coming out of it. It was either leading into it or coming out of it. I think it was coming out of UConn because it was in league play. He was openly, I need to go find the tape on it because I watched the press conference. Rich Rod accused another team, I can't remember which team it is, of spying on them with binoculars and everything. Like I saw him with binoculars. Like it's crazy. So he will call somebody out. All right. Where do I want to go here? Rich Rod approval rating. I put a thing out on X. Let me get over there really quick. I'm sure it's grown a little bit since we did it earlier. I'll share the screen with you too. So let's get over here to my homepage. Okay, so right here, oh no, that's the cheap shot thing. Cheap shot. So we've got 37 votes, which is even less than I thought it was, but either way, it's enough to get a feel for where people are leaning, and it's pretty even amongst the three here. We've got nobody voting for C tier, at least yet. I said evaluate Rich Rod's second stint. You're grading his first offseason back at West Virginia. Evaluate Rodriguez's moves since returning, including transfer signings and staff changes. And I'll talk what I think tonight. Be honest. And so it may break it down even more, but you've got 24% S tier, which is basically no mistakes. A tier, love most of it, and B tier, like some of it. And then I said C tier, which is middling, like Neal Brown. So, this is a fun conversation for me to have because I think not putting on the gold and blue glasses and being honest here, there are some valid criticisms you can make. And I'll start with those. Number one on my list is, in my opinion anyways, and I know he's a little bit older, but not getting Trickett as the offensive line coach is probably one of the biggest marks that I can have. I get why he didn't come. He wants to coach with his son, and he wants to, stay in Florida. He's older. But it's hard to argue with the production and everything that they've done together as a team and what they did last time they were here as a team. So I think, that's a mark. If you're asking me to be very critical here. So I'm trying my very best because, as a lot of you guys know, I love 95% of what he's done. So a couple of the hirings have been interesting hirings. I think the number one and two things, I think keeping Matt Moore, maybe a little more foresight in keeping Matt Moore, and you were never going to keep Chad Scott. That's pretty obvious now, even though he tried. But I think keeping Matt Moore may have been a better short-term solution than hiring McNeil, although McNeil was very successful with him at Ole Miss as the offensive line coach. As a matter of fact, they rushed for over 400 yards on that 2019 LSU team. So, and that's including the quarterback who had 200 yards. I think it was Matt Corral, maybe, but I had to go back and look. But so McNeil definitely knows this system and knows how to get production out of it. Not saying he doesn't, But if you're not going to get Trickett, I think Matt Moore, you got to pay him whatever to keep the players we had here, because those are by far the biggest losses, at least in my opinion. Obviously, you lose your left guard, your left tackle, and your center of the future in Kyle Altuner, who would have started this year. I'm 100% sure he's that good. Go watch Kyle Altuner's tape if you ever get a chance. He absolutely dominated, and his dad has a cut up of him dominating multiple 5-star players that he played during his time. I think it was good counsel in Maryland there. But Kyle Altuner dominated, literally dominated, at least 4 or 5 on this tape. So, I think missing out on those guys definitely hurt us. Trying to think here. There's a couple other things I could probably go with. I'm having a bit of a panic attack all of a sudden, guys. Sorry, this happens to me every now and then. Right in the middle of a show at that. Gosh, I hate it. One of the things that come with the territory of the life that I lived is the panic attacks. And sometimes they come hard and they come heavy. I'm going to try to work through this here in the midst of a show. So very embarrassing, but give me a second, guys, and I'm sorry. So talking about Rich Rod. I'll tell you what, man. I've had panic attacks in the past that have bumped my heart rate up to over 200. So they're immensely crippling at times, to the point to where one of the reasons I do this job is because I have a hard time in public these days, and this is so embarrassing. I'm sorry. Let me just take a deep breath here. Okay. So it makes it tough on me, man. But I don't normally have them in the middle of the show, or if I do, I'm able to kind of fight it off a little. But there are some times where it just completely destroys me, and it's embarrassing as hell. If I allow myself to get upset over it, it'll just get worse. So let me try to keep working through this really quick. Let's go to break really quick. And what I'll do is I'll try to get through this ad read. I don't think I have one. And then we'll come right back. This is Locked On West Virginia. All right, guys. I think I'm okay. I'm unfortunately, I like I said yesterday on the show about the topic with Nico Markiol and addiction and all that. Even though I'm 5 years through all that, the trauma. I say this all the time, and I don't want to get off on this tangent. So, but just to put it in perspective as to what I put myself through. There was the 4 years in the Marine Corps, which were rough, but then I got out of that and fell straight into that addiction, which if some of you don't know about that, that's part of my story. And I'm honest about it, which lasted right around 13 years, I think. And, homeless, the whole 9 yards, as deep down as you can go, and also prison and all that. And, had my face totally broken in the prison, and, just all these different things have happened. And I think on the back end of this very stressful life that I lived, these are the consequences. And it's crippled me in a lot of ways, like unable to do certain things, like something as simple as going to a concert or even a game are really hard for me now. So just forgive me as I catch my bearings here, man. It's a frustrating thing. So I think what we'll do here is we'll pivot. So, Rich Rod's approval rating. I'll finish my thought on that. I think he's done a great job. I mentioned the Matt Moore thing. But overall, I love all the signings. I think a few of them are very low level players that we're not sure about if they're going to work or not. But I do think that they got their kind of guys that are tough and hard edge players that I'm really proud of. And I think that have a really good shot to be good players for us. And as you guys know, there are a couple like Ben Bogle, um, a couple others that I have, um, kind of put my stamp of approval on that I think are going to be really good. Actually, one of them we're going to be going over here in just a second. So let's jump into that because I think it'll be a little easier for me to maybe do some commentary on some of this rather than to think off the top of my head because I don't have for this topic about Rich Rod's approval rating. I know it so well. I didn't need to. I didn't have to, type something out for me to kind of keep me in track. Now I wish I would have. Okay, so the panic attack has passed, so I think I'm okay. But thank you for all the support, guys. I see you guys in the comments supporting me, and it means a lot. It really does. But I have to be professional, and for me, there's that perfectionist part of me that's going to be very mad over this, and it's something that I'm going to have to. I'm trying to get better at it, but I want to be so good at this, and I want to succeed so badly that sometimes I'll put a lot of pressure on myself. So let's get over here to this. Um, okay. So first, we're going to look at Scotty Fox, and I told you guys, I don't know when it was, probably a few weeks ago when a certain player came in. He told me, the player that I heard about the most over everybody when I came on my visit was this kid here who was here for spring ball, as you can see, spring ball underway. So Scotty Fox has had such a drastic improvement. As a matter of fact, I'll show you here on this. I've studied him for a long time, and I want to show you guys some good examples on Scotty Fox. So this is Scotty Fox in 2022. I want you to look at this throwing motion. It's awful, by the way. And watch the improvement from then until right before this upcoming season. Drastic, capital D, drastic improvement in throwing motion. So this is Scotty Fox, probably as a sophomore or junior in high school. Very good arm. Watch the overhand delivery here and watch how it's switched up and changed over the years. So, no weight bad, right? Not great. You can see how he kind of has to jerk. So, and the ball's still a little behind and over the head of the player. I mean, you're getting really picky, but so it's not a terrible throw or anything. It's the motion I'm talking about here. Look at this motion. So it's it's not quite all the way over the top. It's more 80, not 3/4. It's a little bit more than 3/4, but not totally balanced. Look at the left foot pointing way out, not in like it should be. There's a few things, but watch the improvement. This is what this is about. This is not a hate session at all. This is a love session on Scotty Fox. And oops, I accidentally exited out. Let me get back to it really quick. All right, so there it is. All right, so back to Scotty Fox here. All right, let me get back to that one more time. Okay, so you go from that to, and those of you listening on podcasts, just stick with me here. You can see a similar throw right here, right? You see how he's got that little herky jerk at the very end? Right here. Watch how he kind of jerks. So, and you can see it better in So he completely changed this. And don't ask me why. I think you can go to, let me make sure. I mean, I do know why. Here's probably a better example of it. So look at that throw. Look at the throwing motion here. He's dropped this thing way down to probably a lot closer to 3/4 arm angle. And the I would say the overall throwing motion is just healthier, and it's absolutely a better ball now that he throws, and he's kept on to this. And you see this arm angle work for plenty of people,
There we go.
and who knows, it could have been giving him trouble. Not exactly sure, but you can see he's got a great arm. Look at that throw there on the run with no balance. Are you kidding me? Look at this. So that's not what they ask you to do in practice, but look at this throw, man.
Good ball, Scotty.
Woo, beautiful ball. So you got that, okay? So now I'm going to take you to some tape on him from high school, which this would be his senior year tape after the throwing motion has changed. This is sophomore year. We're going to go to senior year highlights. So just want to give you an idea of some of the changes he implemented as he grew a little older, because Scotty Fox has gone from that over the top delivery, or a little more over the top, more like 85%, to a more 3/4 style. And it's really helped a lot. I mean, it really has. Are you guys with me? Yeah, you are. So this is Scotty Fox now, and I'm imagining it's even gotten better since he's made that change. Nice shoulder, leading him nice over the shoulder, leading him to the sideline. And he as you can see here, he plays in an RPO system. If you see this play here, not this play, but this next play coming up. So obviously here's this RPO type system. And a beautiful throw down the seam. Very well done. But this is where he shines. We all know it in the running game. As a runner, this kid is electric in the open field, and possibly, well, not possibly. I mean, I don't know until we see more from Jalen Henderson. Probably our best overall running quarterback now, if you really want to be honest about it. And I said this multiple times here in the last few weeks, ever since. Now, I want to be honest about it, though. This is one player, but one player told me, hey, I didn't hear about Nico. I didn't hear about Jalen. I didn't hear about anybody else but Scotty Fox from the coaches. They said he's the future, by definitely the future. And you have to start asking yourself, well, they've got Nico, they got Jalen, but they didn't go after another quarterback. I mean, we know they got Max Brown, but they didn't go after another quarterback. When a lot of people would say Max Brown probably not ready to do it at number 3. My opinion is I think Scotty Fox is the third quarterback. I think he's going to win that, and possibly more if people don't play well. And could he be a Pat White waiting in the wings as far as this comparison? From, Pat White was a redshirt freshman. Adam Bednarik's the starter. He doesn't perform well. He gets hurt. And it's Pat White's show after that. Could he be a kid waiting in the wings that just needs his chance? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, from what I'm being told, and oh, by the way, I've asked several players about him. Well, not several, too. Sometimes I have to be careful with what I say. Sometimes you get a little over exaggeration. But I've asked 2 separate players about how he did in the spring. And I was told on both accounts, 2 players that don't even play together in the same side of the ball, that he was by far the most impressive quarterback. Not that he deserves a start right now, just that his overall skill set is very impressive. And the quote I can give you on the one player that on defense said, extremely tough to tackle in the open field. So just giving you some stuff on Scotty here, and to get your expectations ready, because I think he's going to be a great one for us. Beautiful throw. That ball traveled 40, 45 yards in the air there. But, like I said before, he really shines. I mean, his throwing is only going to improve for sure. But this is where he shines in the open field, running the ball. He's got speed, he's got elusiveness, and he's got some power to his game. And I truly believe that, and that's an incredible throw off his back foot. Nuts. But, all this entire system is, and did you see that? He got absolutely crunched after that throw. Look right here, guys. Watch the hit he takes. This is with pressure in his face. Well, he got hit right after the throw. The guy kind of pulled up, but I mean, he's got some things. He's got something to him, and I can see why the coaches are saying this. There was a great angle for the 3/4 arm angles throw that he's got now that's a way different than what he was when he was younger. And I get it. It's not exactly unusual for a kid to change your throwing motion as they age and get stronger. But his is a pretty dramatic change in throwing motion. Here you can see some of that elusivity. You love to see it. But like I say over and over, man, look how quick he gets upfield. And, I think he's going to be a great runner for us. And he's only gotten faster and stronger for West Virginia. So looking forward to seeing what Scotty Fox can bring to the table, man. Even if it's not this year, I would be really surprised if he's not in it next year. I don't know if Nico or Jalen stick around and they have a great year, then maybe not. But gosh, I'd hate to lose this kid based on what we're being told, because he's got a lot of potential, man, for sure. See a couple other running plays from him. I like to, hey, he's already learned something. It took Garrett Green forever to learn. He actually slid when he got down. So you love to see that, man. He's got some self-preservation skills that Garrett Green did not have. That's the easiest throw of his life. Gosh, that kid was wide open. Let's try to see if there's there. I know there was one run I saw earlier on here. I was like, holy cow, man. Interesting player, guys. I really like Scotty a lot, man. And he's got a nice arm too. It's just not a conventional throwing motion, really. I mean, maybe conventional is not a good word. It's not your everyday throwing motion, though. It's a little bit baseball style now, but it gets the job done, as you can see, and it'll only improve. Like I said, he's working with some good quarterback, some guys that's done really good stuff with quarterbacks in the past now, and Coach Trickett and others. So certainly love to see it. I'm not sharing the screen, am I? Sorry, guys. Well, let's try that again. Good Lord. I am so sorry, y'all. But at least you heard me. Craziness, man. Craziness. Okay, let's get back to it again. Sorry. I guess it just didn't travel with me for whatever reason. It's so annoying when it does that. So we'll go there again really quick, and I'll show a couple of these plays from Scotty Fox again. These are his senior year highlights, and I'm just going to show a couple because we got to get on to Aiden Busel as well. But it's all good, man. Things happen in life, right? So we got a Gatorade ad here. All right. So here's Scotty Fox, St. Edward's High School. Let's get to a couple of these. Let's see. I think right around here is a good one. Yeah. So, this is a nice throw from Scotty. And really his throws are all really good on this tape here. Like they're all, they chose well. Like this is a great touch throw. You see like you can actually tell and watch in real time. Watch him just take something off this as he lets it go. You can tell he just takes a little off that to make it very soft. So, that's because there are some players that don't have that. There are players that don't have that ability to take something off of it. So you like to see it. Sorry, you guys. I didn't realize that you weren't watching along. So it's okay. It's already been a hectic, chaotic stream as it is. And he's fixed a lot in his game, man. Here's what he does best, though. Like we said earlier, running with the football. This is what makes him dangerous, in my opinion, and what will make him dangerous at West Virginia. And likely that's an insane throw off the back foot. What will make him dangerous going forward is, he throws it well enough, and I'm sure he's improved a lot. But what he really does well is he's a sneaky, sneaky, sneaky athlete. So we'll get to that here. I think there's a couple other runs on this film, which actually not as many as I expected to see, but that's okay. Yeah, here's one here, I believe. So here he keeps it, and as you can see, he gets downfield. He's a quick guy. I wouldn't say he's blazing fast at all, but he does a lot of things really well and can be very effective in this offense for sure. Here he goes again, a little dancing around. You like to see the improvisational skills are very important in this offense, as we know from the Pat White, and even when you go to Skylar Howard, and we need kids like that here. And there you want to see him put something on it. Here he is. You want to see him put something on a pass. I mean, this is gunning it in there. Yes, we'll take that. So he can do a little bit of everything. There's a lot to work with here. Here he is in the open field again as a runner. As you can see, he gets down the field in a hurry. He's got big, long strides. He's got passion. Here he is again. And look, see the agility? This little cut right here. Look how quick that cut is. Let me see if I can. So this cut incoming here, I mean, it's a big hole. We'll be lucky if we see him that big at West Virginia at times. But, it's the cut out that is impressive to me because of how quick it is. Boom. And it's just little things like that when I'm evaluating tape, that mean a lot to me, because straight line runners are not as valuable as a quarterback, especially, as somebody that can move side to side a little bit. You don't have to be Garrett Green, really, because Garrett could go side to side as well. But you got to be able to change direction. Otherwise, it just makes you more easy to scout and plan for, because people will start to realize that's all you do. And you don't have, you can make angles to a guy much easier in those scenarios. And so let's get to the other post here, guys. And one more really quick. We're going over it to the weekend. It's a bonus stream. So Aiden Busel, who you guys know I'm a huge fan of, and I think he's got a chance to start on this year's offensive line. We did this interview with him on May 4th. So if you haven't seen it yet, I highly, highly ask you go watch it. It's a great interview with this kid. He's a grown man, by the way. Let's get to the tape that only I have of him. If you haven't seen this Aiden Busel tape, I'm glad I've got 500 people in here, because I want to show you guys the player we got from Tennessee, because I don't think a lot of people have seen it yet. So I'm so glad there's a lot of people in here to see this. Aiden is getting exactly what he deserves here, which is exposure. Because I'm just going to show you the tape. But based on this tape, I'm going to set you up for this. On this tape, Aiden Busel is playing, I think, against the first string at Tennessee, is what he told me. And if you go look up the players, because I went and looked up a few, there are a couple of these which were absolute studs at Tennessee, you'll see. But let's get over to the tape now. So we'll exit off of this, and we'll go into my Google Drive. Where is it? Yeah, right here. Okay, so in my Google Drive, we've got this tape for Aiden Busel, which is not out in the public. So, please don't take this video and do anything with it or anything like that, because I don't know if he wants it to be, floating out in the X space very much more than I don't know. He didn't tell me not to do anything with it. I would like to ask him. I have permission to share it on my show, but I don't know beyond that. So Here he is. He played guard at Tennessee, and man, you're going to enjoy this. 6'5", 320. 3 years left, by the way. There he's playing on the edge. Nasty player. And some of this footage is a little grainy, but look at the pull, guys. Beautiful pull. Look at the quickness. Boom. Get out of there. And you love to see that, man. Here he is playing center. So, he can do a little bit of everything. And I know some of this footage is grainy. Double team. And watch him take this kid all the way almost out of the screen. Right guard. Pull. Boom. Look at that hit, man. Just an awesome shot of Aiden Busel, man. Boom. Mack truck coming around against SEC defensive linemen at that. Tennessee's got very good defensive linemen. We know that. They've had several go in the first couple rounds of the draft in a few years. Here he is again. One-on-one. No chance. Very good matchup. Here he is against another kid. I went and looked this up. Number 17 is a star for Tennessee right now. Go look it up yourself. Now, I don't know if this was before, he became good or whatever, but, you can see Busel dominates this rep at least. Now, it doesn't mean he didn't beat him in other reps either. But you see the nasty streak in Aiden. Love to see it, man. Look at that dominating rep. Just over and over, man. Playing so well against this Tennessee defensive line. There he is again, pushing a backer out into space. Here he is again at the left guard spot. Double team. Oh, my God, watch him work, guys. The more I watch this tape, the highlights. I get these are highlights. But, that's all we got, right? And, if he can be consistent like this, look at this play. Coming off the ball so tough. The impact he makes when he gets there, then watch him come off the double team and get upfield and block. It's so beautiful to watch. The more I watch him, the more I can't see a world and where he's not a player for one of the 5 spots on this offensive line. Love to see it, man. And just driving dudes into the ground when he gets a chance. Nicely done there, too. One-on-one. Pancake block. Thank you. Here he is again. One-on-one. Take you out of the screen. One-on-one. No, that's a double team. Never mind. That's one-on-one. Look at that battle. Beautiful. Just look at the strength. Watch him anchor. Gosh, man. That's a big dude, number 61. Let's find out who it is. You guys know I love to do this. Let's find out who number 61 was for Tennessee in football. And would have been last year. Number 61. Tennessee. Balls D line. Okay. All right. That is David Hobbs, defensive lineman for the Tennessee Volunteers. 6'4", 290, and had a mid-round NFL draft grade. It says here per 247 Sports. Pretty wild, man. Let me make sure this is him for sure, because I don't want to put anything falsely out, but I'm pretty sure this is the guy. Yeah, this is it. I don't want to bring you off that page, but 6'4", 290, number 61 right here. So, former 5-star recruit out of North Carolina who has had an increased role in his second season at the Vols defensive lineman, enrolled in January 2023, spring practice, defensive line rotation as a true freshman in 2023, and then bulked up and played in 22 games, started every game last year. 32 snaps, 3 tackles, 2 sacks, 1.5 sacks, versus Georgia. So anyway, this is a kid that played extremely well versus Georgia in a game, and probably had more games. I didn't want to read everything. And watch Aiden Busel work on him, man. So You guys get what I'm saying here? Am I overreacting? It's just one rep. So I do want to keep that into into my head here. But the more I watch this kid, the more I fall in love with him, dude. I just think that, you know, like he was undervalued at Tennessee. Tennessee has the money to bring in, and this is what happened. I think he talked about it on the show, but basically Tennessee's in a position where rather than plug him in, a guy who hasn't played yet, that obviously has some potential, they've got the money to go out and purchase somebody that's got 1,000 snaps under their belt and has already got these great grades. So, I mean, I understand it, and this is why West Virginia is able to get a player like this. But, it looks to me like they missed out on a pretty good player. And his pass protection stuff is very good. This might be the most impressive part of the tape that I've seen him do. So, Aiden Busel here, I mean, just look at him. He's got good agility, good feet. I mean, he sticks with the blocks all the time. You see he doesn't get bull rush, if at all, any. So, there's so much to like here. And you see Nico Maliaba is the quarterback for a lot of these snaps, who we all know that's a crazy scenario there. But there's a lot to like with Aiden Busel. And I really do think the more I watch him, look at the one-on-one snaps, that's got to be a good player. There's no way 42 isn't a good player. I mean, you could just see the way he moves there. He's a good player. 42. We'll do one more. Sorry. I just want to know. I want the context, right? If these players are any good. So, Tyree West, senior defensive lineman. We'll see who he is really quick. This is definitely him, though. Same exact person that's on the footage. All right, 6'3", 290 out of Tifton High School. Tyree West. Okay. Career. Quick defensive lineman with notable pass rushing ability in his third season with the program. Registered 40 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, 62% and a loss of 62 yards overall, 6 sacks, and a safety at Tennessee last year. Safety was at Vanderbilt. So this is an absolute stud defensive lineman, number 42, Tyree West. And I can see right here, it's the exact same player, the exact same jersey and everything. So these are not against scrubs. These are against the starting defensive lineman for Tennessee, a guy that had 6 sacks last year and 40 tackles in the SEC. To me, there's no way that don't translate over almost all the other guys we brought in. I think Aiden Busel translates over. Look at this. I mean, you can see why the guy's good. I mean, that's why I was getting ready to, I immediately saw that spin move and was like, oh, yeah, that guy can play. And maybe he lost a bunch of reps to him that we don't see. So, I get it. I want to keep it in perspective. But Aiden Busel is not talked about enough as one of the 5 that could be. So, I mean, look at this. He dominates dudes over and over on these snaps. I mean, he is so strong. Rooting for Aiden Busel. Obviously, he came on the show, so there's that part of me that wants him to do good as well. But, I mean, if you just watch him work here, I mean, he stonewalls cats. He really does. There's a pancake block for you. And he's got a lot of snaps, man. I mean, on footage here, no doubt. I mean, no wonder West Virginia went after him, and what a pickup he is. So, well, that's enough footage on him, guys, but hopefully you like that. It's not been shown very much. I think I put it on one other show. So, Aiden Busel, guys, we're got a pretty good offensive lineman in him, and I am absolutely excited to see where he ends up and how he ends up playing for West Virginia. So thank you guys for letting me work through that panic attack earlier. And I appreciate you guys. And sometimes, man, life comes at you. I'm just thankful I had you guys here along with me for that ride, even though it was a little embarrassing. But I got to run. It's been 54 minutes. It's way past time for me to get off here, guys. And Thank you for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, for being part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team every single day. For your second listen, if you could go check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. You can be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, and I'll see you guys on the next show. Have a great day, and I'm out.